With the clock ticking on the 2022-23 secondary transfer window, let's take a look at the 5 biggest winter transfer busts in Premier League history. Coming in at number 5 is Fernando Torres to Chelsea for a then British record £50 million. Many pundits would likely rank Nando's switch from Liverpool to Stamford Bridge closer to the one spot, considering his overall form and fitness were fading before his 2011 move. And yes, his 45 goals and 172 appearances wasn't good, but he did have a few moments of brilliance, such as helping Chelsea beat Barcelona in the semi-final of the 2012 Champions League with a late goal at Camp Nou. Chelsea fans adore him for that effort as they went on to win their first ever Champions League title, and that's why I couldn't put him any lower than 5. Having £75 million burning a hole in your pocket can do strange things to a football club. So, after selling Virgil van Dijk to Liverpool in 2018, relegation-haunted Southampton wanted a statement signing to show supporters that they were actually ambitious. That and attempting to avoid the drop, having averaged only a goal per game by the end of January. As it turned out, our number 4 pick, Guido Carrillo, was not the answer. Now, what made the decision to sign Carrillo for £19 million that much more baffling is that he hardly had a look in at Monaco, where he played understudy to a couple guys by the name of Radamel Falcao and Kylian Mbappe. So the Argentine striker, known to Mauricio Pellegrino from their days together at Estudiantes, ultimately started just 7 games, 5 in the league, took just 4 shots, and never scored a goal for the Saints as they narrowly survived. However, incoming manager Mark Hughes played Guido just twice for mid-March, and he was then farmed out on loan to Leganes just 6 months later. While many Liverpool supporters would have been smug about Fernando Torres' £50 million sale, with hindsight, they cannot forget that a lot of that money was reinvested right away in bringing Andy Carroll to Anfield, and that's why he's our 3rd worst winter transfer. Kenny Dalglish gave Newcastle a then club record £35 million to part with the 22-year-old striker after he impressed during his first 6 months of Premier League football, which included 14 top-flight goals. Alas, never forget the threat of small sample sizes, especially when you're giving someone a 5.5-year contract. Having arrived with an injury and a lot of expectation, Carroll didn't debut for a full month, never lived up to his transfer fee, and found his style of play was woefully unsuited for Liverpool. Just 18 months later, on the back of only 11 goals and 58 appearances, Carroll was loaned out to West Ham before completing a £15 million permanent move to the Hammers just 1 year later. Not that Henrik Mkhitaryan was great for the Gunners, but he was a heck of a lot better than the player they essentially traded him for in 2018. That's right, our number 2 worst transfer ever, Alexis Sanchez. Way to go, Mourinho. The Chilean was paid an obscene £505,000 per week at Old Trafford, which breaks down to $20 million per goal or $29,000 per touch. In 45 games, he scored just 5 times and looked like a shell of the man that once lit up the EPL for Arsenal. Then less than 3 years later, the Red Devils shelled out another £19.4 million to Inter Milan just to get rid of Sanchez for good. Being the man tapped to replace Neymar and his newfound €222 million income from PSG was never going to be a simple task. But even still, the colossal failure of Barcelona acquiring a disenfranchised Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool for $142 million is all alone as the worst winter transfer of all time in the Premier League. It was a club record fee, making him the world's 2nd most expensive player at the time and the most expensive midfielder as of 2022. Was he actually ever a midfielder? So during Coutinho's brief days as a Barcelona player, he did score 41 times in 160 games, which doesn't sound terrible. It's just that only 26 of those goals were actually for Barcelona, and 2 of them notoriously came against Barcelona for Bayern Munich in one of the most humiliating results in club history, that 8-2 defeat in the Champions League quarterfinals in August of 2020.